You want to introduce yourself?
Well, the children know who I am.
Okay. What about for any new people?
I run the hit YouTube channel, Strange Eons.
Hi, I'm Nemo. I'm Tia's friend, currently coming to you live from under a bedsheet because corporeal forms, who needs them, right?
Corporeal forms, am I right?
Yeah.
How about them?
Yeah, I just turned into a really bad Jerry Seinfeld impersonator for a minute. Okay, so we're going to talk about topics. I guess, we should tell them that this is going to be a thing.
This is a show where we talk about topics. You are free to suggest them, although we do have our own list.
Yes, we do. It is ever building because, we never shut up about anything.
We have thoughts about things, about topics even, and we never shut up, which is what gave us the fabulous idea to sit on my couch and record the shit we never shut up about. Yeah.
I guess maybe it's worth saying, just very briefly, how we, when we came up with the idea, since, it was kind of cool. We were at a friend's art show and just, sweating very much because it was very hot and very small, and Tia was eating
sweating profusely in a tiny room. I was eating all of the fancy grapes.
Yeah, and all the cheese. And I don't know which of us turned to the other one and said, hey, we should do this, but one of us did.
I know it was that day, but I didn't realize it was when we were there.
Yeah, it was exactly there. And and we just thought, hey, that would be fun. And ironically, I'd talked with other friends before about doing a podcast because, unsurprisingly, everyone I talk to never shuts up about anything. But Tia's the only one who knows how to edit shit, so that's why she got me on here.
That's the only reason. Also, we hate each other.
Yeah. No, I love her deeply, so, this should be fun. Okay.
So, what is our first topic?
We are talking about childhood TV shows.
Yes, specifically iCarly.
iCarly.
I think it's a fascinating show now when you look at the influencer culture that's popped up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think it predicted a lot of things considering it came out in 2007.
Yeah,
I'm curious. don't think I've asked you, why did you start watching iCarly? Just for the kicks and the nostalgia?
You mean now, recently?
Now, yes.
Okay. Well, so I do this thing where whenever I'm going through a time of trouble and trial and tribulation in my life, I want to revert back to some kind of childhood state. Freud would probably have some stuff to say about that, but he's not here and we do not stand, so that's fine. But it's whatever's on YouTube. Whatever of my childhood faves are on YouTube, so I looked it up because I remembered the theme song and it was, cheery, and I wanted to remember a time where I was happy. So, yeah.
Getting existential here.
Yeah.
With iCarly.
Yeah. And, it holds up. But it's weird. It's definitely weird to, watch it back because it's never the same. It's not the same watching it on YouTube.
I don't know. I feel like...
Did you get the same vibe when you were watching it?
That it's not the same on YouTube?
No, it feels different than it was when you were a kid sitting in front of the TV after school or whatever, whenever you watched it.
I would agree with that, although I didn't think of that before. I watched quite a bit of it while I was in the hospital because you were watching it, and I was like, wow, I'm curious about this show too.
Yeah.
Because I remember we all loved it when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
We were all hyped about iCarly. It was everyone's favorite show in grade 6, grade 7-ish.
Yeah.
But... yeah, so I got curious too and started watching a few episodes. And, season 1's a little rocky, but I would say 2 and 3 hold pretty true to my memories of it.
Yeah, those were some good times of it. In the later seasons, I feel like, because it goes up to season 6, I think. It's just, it's weird. Because, they were all old at that point. Old.
Probably, our age. They were so old.
But, to me, it just felt really... I don't know, towards the end, I guess, it was kind of okay, get us out of here, we're done playing these children. But, I agree, 2 and 3 was, that ideal, just little world where everything was good and great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got nothing?
I just remember thinking it was, really funny and different.
Yeah.
I know there's an episode where they're kind of making fun of popular TV shows.
Yeah,
and how it's just there's that one kid and her dad's an executive who's producing this show, and she's like, this is dumb, I'd rather watch iCarly.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of subversive compared to a lot of other shows that were around at the time.
Yeah, and there's also an episode where the quote-unquote dingo company is stealing all their ideas, and it's a very thinly veiled,
with the frozen
Disney.
head with Obviously, we didn't get that as kids, but now we're like, oh, we watched YouTube conspiracy videos. It's Walt Disney frozen in the vault.
Exactly.
Like, and there's so many conspiracies about Disney trying to cover that up. So it's really funny that the show just goes ahead and like, and here's an episode about us finding Walt Disney's frozen head.
Exactly. And just the fact that it's like they're calling them out for like stealing other people's ideas and stuff. So, which, you know, nowadays, now that you got Disney over here just remaking their own properties and not coming up with anything creative, you know, iCarly called it, I guess.
iCarly called a lot of things.
Yeah.
An episode that I find super interesting that I actually just watched like last night was the one that Fred is on.
Oh, yeah. That one? God, Fred. It's been so many years.
At the time, Fred was probably the closest thing to, you know, the kind of show they were doing on iCarly.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, like relatively kid-friendly content by a teenager. Yeah. And he was huge on YouTube. I don't remember if he was ever one of, like, the most subscribed channel, but he might have been.
Yeah.
And this was, like, pre-2010.
Yeah.
So I find it really interesting that they got, like, kind of the real version, like the real internet star kid on the show about the internet star kids.
Yeah.
And Lucas Cruikshank, the kid who did Fred, like he has a YouTube channel still.
Yeah,
and he did a reaction video to him being on iCarly as a kid.
Yeah.
And he kind of pokes fun at himself at one point, talking about, oh, you know, I had just these normal kid hobbies, like screaming about my alcoholic mother and medication. And it just kind of highlights that, you know, on iCarly they were glamorous and they were popular in school and they were conventionally attractive and whatever. But like the real internet stars at the time, like pre-2010, you had to be a bit of a lonely weirdo. Yeah. To do that kind of thing.
As opposed to, you know, the svelte model that you are, you know.
Yeah, totally.
No, I mean, like, if we're talking about, like, you know, conventionally attractive, like, young women, I feel like, you know, not that you're iCarly, but, like, you're kind of like goth iCarly. Like,
I'll take goth iCarly.
Goth lesbian iCarly.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's the biggest difference between iCarly and reality. Yeah. Is that they were so, like, cool. Yeah. And everyone in school thought they were so cool for having a web show. Yeah. Whereas that was not the case for a lot of early YouTubers. Because YouTubers are the closest thing. Yeah.
Whatever was going on there, yeah.
They were pre-YouTube, so they just had their web show going on a random website.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because, like, it very much was kind of like the kid fantasy, like an idea, like not just the web show and the fact that they were really popular and that like they had all these friends, but just the fact that they were able to be famous as kids, the fact that they were able to like live close to their friends, like Sam, Freddie, and Carly all lived in the same building, right?
Or I think
or Sam lived somewhere
Freddie
else.
lived across the hall. Sam didn't live in the building.
Okay, yeah, she lived somewhere else. But, like, they were all close enough to constantly be at each other's houses, which, you know, is not a reality for a lot of people, especially not for our friend group. We're always everywhere.
I lived pretty close to two of our other friends.
Yeah.
We all... Yeah. I don't want to, like, give out their names or,
just
like,
casually give the
say my childhood address, but we all lived within, like, 10 minutes. You and our other friend, who you live close to, live very far.
Yes, I live in an alternate dimension. You see, I do not come from here.
Yeah, it's real hard.
It's real hard to talk to people.
This recording is turning out so well.
I know, right? Wow. But yeah, and also like the fact that there was kind of no real adult supervision. There was Spencer, but
like he doesn't count.
Yeah,
he's a chaos demon trying his best.
Exactly. No, I literally said this to Teya, and I will say it now to you, our 5 whole listeners. I am convinced that Spencer Shea was not a human being, that he's some kind of chaos demon / demigod, because everything that happens to this man should have killed him. I was watching an episode where a pressurized paint can exploded in his face. Yeah. And it was played for a gag. Like, he just had paint on his face. But it's like, dude, that probably would have blinded a normal human. And obviously, like, it's Nickelodeon, so it's like cartoon convention rules. You know, a piano can fall on someone and they're not going to die. But just the fact that it always happens to him has resulted in me having this long-standing theory that he's just some kind of non-human creature who just wants to make art, and that's why he's always eating such like weird shit, like spaghetti tacos. Like, you can't tell me that's not a chaos demon invention. Like, 100%
he doesn't really quite understand how to be a human yet, but he's
trying, and he loves his little human sister.
Yes.
But yeah, and the only other like quote unquote adult Like, I think where you see it, it's kind of almost like Charlie Brown rules, where, like, the adults are there, but kind of in the background. Like, Carly's dad is never around until, like, the very final episode when he comes and takes her away to Italy. And then and Sam's mom is never around except for, like, one episode. So the only other actual adult we see, and this is where we can kind of get into things where, like, things that don't age well about the show, was Freddie's mom.
Yeah.
Who was, like, this crazy, shrill woman.
Yeah.
Who was, like, obsessed with keeping Freddie as, like, an infant.
Like the anti-Spencer.
Yeah, exactly. And she's just this very frumpy, prudy old woman. And also, I didn't bring this up with you, but it occurred to me the other day. There's something, not to go back to Freud again, because I hate, but there's something almost not Oedipal necessarily, but there's something very weird there about how, like, she clearly sees Carly as a rival for Freddie's affections. Like, did you ever see that episode where, like, the one that I really started seeing it in was the episode where Freddie gets hurt. He gets hit by a bus, pushing Carly out of the way.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, so Freddie's, like, really sick and hurt and whatever. And, like, it's one where Carly is like, oh, he saved me, so now I kind of have romantic feelings. But then it turns out that, you know, she's just has gratitude feelings. But, like, the mom is just really weird and antagonistic toward her. And, like, it's something that continues throughout the show. So, like, it's just, her character, the way they played it is just very strange to me. Like, there's something very weird about, like, your only, like, adult woman character. It's her and then the teacher with, like, the pointy boobs.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. Like, it's weird.
It's very, like, anti-adult in a way.
Yeah.
Which isn't
but
that
specifically
shocking for a kid's show, but especially older women, I would say.
Yeah, specifically anti-older woman, because, like, there's no female Spencer.
And Sam's mom, too, is kind of, like, a shadowy figure for most of the time.
And she's also just a terrible mother.
Yeah.
Like, she's the worst. Like, there's that episode where they go to, like, a therapist, and the therapist's like, I can't.
That's the one episode we ever actually see Sam's mom, right?
Yeah, she's played by Jane Lynch.
Yeah.
Who's, you know, super cool and everything, but, like...
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So it seems to be very anti-older woman. And I said there was no female Spencer, but we do sometimes see female characters who are around the same age as Spencer, but it's never played well. Did you ever watch the pie episode where there's the old man, Mr. Galini, who, like, had the great banana cream pie recipe and then he dies and no one knows where the recipe is?
I remember that one from childhood. I have not watched it recently.
So in that, Mr. Galini has a granddaughter whose name is Trudy, I think, and she's, like, Spencer's age, but she's, like, super nerdy, has, like, I think braces or something. Like, she's just, like, she's played as being very ugly and unattractive, and Spencer has to endure going on a date with her because he's trying to seduce the pie recipe out of her. So that's the only thing I can remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who remembers, but I think that's the only time that we see a female person, a woman who is the same age as Spencer. Because even when he talks about girlfriends and stuff, usually they're completely off screen.
There was one episode that I saw. It was his older babysitter.
Oh,
the one where they have, like, the weirdest relationship.
I vaguely remember that from childhood, yeah.
Basically, he runs into this woman who was his babysitter when he was a kid. So there's probably, like, a 5-ish year age gap between them.
Yeah.
But they start dating. Except she is still acting as his babysitter.
I vaguely remember that,
and her, like, reading him a story at night, and she'll, like, scream at them all to go to bed. And it's just, like, the most uncomfortable thing you've ever seen in your life.
Why all the Oedipus things? I'm telling you. Like, okay, I think it's because it's funny, like, quote unquote funny.
Yeah,
and
it's all for comedic value. Yeah. But then you watch this as an adult and you're like, Like, I say funny in scare quotes because I feel like it's not quite in the same place as, like, queer equals comedic. Like, whenever you have, like, a male character and, like, there's anything feminine put onto him, it's meant to be for comedic value. It's kind of in the same wheelhouse as that, but slightly different. It's, like, the idea that there can't be a funny female character necessarily unless she's played as, like, shrill or, like, really strange in some other way. Yeah.
Like, except for, like, the girls of iCarly. They are the only ones allowed to do that. Okay, I remember there was an episode where Freddie didn't forward a chain email. His shorts, he was going to go play tennis with his mom. And that's always played for laughs. He's always doing things with his mom. And, you know, it's always a problem that he's hanging out with his mom. But he had white shorts. and then like
they got dyed pink,
they got
sock
dyed
in the
pink.
wash. I remember that.
Yeah. So like it was played as so funny because like, and Sam specifically is the one who usually makes fun of him for being like girly, which is weird because Sam is not stereotypically feminine.
No,
Like,
very queer-coded character.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw this Tumblr post a while ago talking about all of the characters, specifically female characters in childhood shows that are just very gay, but were never allowed to be, actually.
I mean...
And obviously not every tomboy is gonna grow up to be a lesbian, and Sam was a straight character, but at the same time, I feel like characters like that were kind of the role models for young queer girls, and we didn't actually get to have them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, here's the thing. We will probably get more into this in a later podcast episode. As a non-corporeal creature, Sam was really important to me growing up.
Yeah.
In that space of like season 2 and 3, where they were kind of into boys, but like it wasn't like a big thing.
Yeah.
Because in later seasons it became a huge thing. Like who's Freddie gonna end up with? Which of them is he gonna end up with? And then there were all these other male characters who were like in and out as boyfriends. But in those like early seasons when boys were kind of talked about but not really like a thing, Sam was really important to me because number one, she was like, you know, kind of aggressive and not necessarily like the same as Carly, but like she was still beloved. Carly still loved her, like she still had value as a person. And she was just someone who was like kind of just accepted for what she was, and it wasn't necessarily played as a joke. Like the fact that she was always eating, which we'll get to.
We'll get to that.
That was a whole capital T thing right there. Like, it was kind of played for laughs. And, like, the fact that she would, like, beat people up was kind of played for laughs. But it was also, like, there was something admirable about her. Like, the Dingo episode where they go after the Dingo Company. She, like, beats the crap out of grown men with a sock full of butter, I think is what it was. And, like, what an icon.
Yeah.
Like, as a young creature... watching that and just seeing her be allowed to do that and her being in the right to do that because these grown men were stealing their intellectual property and that was a terrible thing to do. Like, it was super empowering. So, like, yeah, I totally get the queer coding thing, but I also think just as, like, in general, I felt really... I don't know. She's important to me. You know already that tomboy characters are very important to me for a lot of reasons.
I know.
So,
but...
yeah.
The queer coding angle is just as valid, I think.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, even though I don't know, I find it very interesting to talk to people about what certain characters mean to them, especially when it comes to childhood characters.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want anyone to get out of this being like, no, Nemo doesn't accept queer coding. Of course I do. Yeah. Of course. If it's important to you growing up as like a closeted lesbian child, or, you know, bisexual child, whatever, woman-loving woman, or even man-loving man, if, you know, that worked for you. If that's important to you, then 100%. But I also think it's equally valid to be, like, seeing someone who was not necessarily gender non-conforming, but a little bit more so than I think a lot of what we got. Yeah. I think that's important for everyone.
Yeah.
I think that was it was an important thing for me to see, for sure.
Yeah.
And Freddie was kind of... They had a chance with Freddie that I'm not sure if they took necessarily, because he wasn't an aggressive male character, which was nice and refreshing.
Yeah. But at the same time, he was super creepy to Carly at times.
He was
very much the friend-zoned nice boy trope.
He was.
He was creepy sometimes.
But then they also did, like, Neville, for example, who was, like, I feel like supposed to be the extreme.
Neville was very queer-coded as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
The queer-coded Disney villain thing, you know?
That was, like, queer equals comedy and queer equals evil. Yeah. Just bad tropes all around. But, you know, it was 2000
It was 2007 was when season 1 came out.
Yeah, but... So...
It has its problematic moments, but for the most part, Yeah. iCarly is not canceled.
No, iCarly is not canceled.
iCarly is very interesting to look back on, especially with my current job situation.
Oh, no, for sure. Well, part of the reason when whichever of us were talking about this podcast and doing it, part of me at the back of my head is like, you know... Who among us watched iCarly as a kid and wasn't like, I kind of want to do that? So, like, you know, part of the reason that I wanted to do this is because, like, you know, there's a part of me that wants to do iCarly, like, secretly still at the bottom of, you know, all this adult shit.
God.
Yeah. But
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know. It's weird because I'm the one who actually ended up kind of doing that.
yeah,
It's weird. I don't
none of
remember
us
ever looking up to
anticipated
them.
that. Like, not looking up to them necessarily, but I think just the idea of having a thing that you do with your friends and just making people laugh or making people think or whatever it is that you happen to want to do. I found that admirable more so than I like wanted to be Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah.
No offense to Miranda Cosgrove. I'm sure she's a fine person.
Yeah, we're both good. We do not want to be Miranda Cosgrove,
Yeah.
but good on her.
I mean,
I hope she's having a good life.
Yeah, we kind of looked up some of her filmography after iCarly, and some of it was, interesting. Yeah.
I stalked all of them pretty much at some point,
Yeah.
and none of them did anything really significant after.
Yeah, Jerry Trainer, who played Spencer, has a YouTube channel.
Really?
Of like 2-minute comedy videos. That is just so surreal.
I know Jeanette McCurdy just started a YouTube channel.
Oh, did she? Good for her.
I think I'm subscribed to her.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about her in a minute. But yeah, so Jerry Trainer has these really surreal 2-minute YouTube videos. The first one was him and his friend arguing. Well, not arguing. They were just really loud and passionate about their love for Agatha Christie's Poirot. Like Hercule Poirot was a character.
I haven't seen this. I need to see this.
You need to see this. It's incredible. And it also reminds me of like anytime you and me discuss anything that we're into.
Yeah.
Like just that level of loud and just super into it. No, it's great. I've only watched like that and then another one where everyone's a watermelon and they're doing different, like it's a watermelon therapy thing. Anyways, like if like he does anything problematic or cancelable in later episodes, I don't know. I'm just saying that the first one about Poirot was really funny. That's it. That's all I know. Yeah, that's my stance.
Lord.
Yeah, but yeah, no, none of them ever went on to do anything really significant, which is like
they peaked at iCarly.
And also there's not necessarily a space for shows like that anymore. Like, if you look at what's on things like Nickelodeon nowadays and, like, Family Channel, it's very different. Like, I can't think of any, I don't know, maybe you have some, like, 12-year-old followers who, like, will know, but I can't think of anything that's similar to, like, iCarly and Drake and Josh and stuff like that. It seemed like it was a very particular moment. And then, like, as that was phasing out, you had, like, Big Time Rush had a show. I don't even know what happened to Big Time Rush. And then Victorious with Victoria Justice and Ariana Grande, who is
that
now...
was just slightly past our time. That was, like, the very end of our time.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it and then just grew out of it. But, like, I feel like that was kind of, like, the phasing out time. Because, like, it was not nearly as iconic. No one remembers Victorious. Like...
Even though we're talking about it right now.
Even though we're talking about it right now. But, like, I feel like people don't remember it to the same way. And, like, everyone remembers the iCarly theme song. And I feel like significantly less people would remember, like, the Victorious theme song.
Yeah, I'm blanking on that. I have no idea what it was.
It was the, like, Here I Am, Once Again, something else.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I vaguely remember.
I'm seeing into the abyss.
Yeah. Well, you know, title of the podcast. But,
Working title.
It's
probably going to end up being the title.
It's probably going to end up being the title, knowing us. But,
Screaming into the void.
Yeah.
With, I don't know,
Nemo and Teya.
Some entities.
Yeah, some entities. That should just be it. Yeah, it's just gonna be like you in a witch hat, and then me as the sheet ghost with nothing under it.
Just picture us like that.
Yeah,
That's exactly what's happening right now.
Maybe I have some shades on. We don't know. Maybe not a white bedsheet. Maybe like a floral bedsheet. I love a floral.
We should have a photo shoot.
We should have a photo shoot. But yeah, no. I guess when you're part of something that iconic, it's hard to come back from it. And maybe you make bank and you don't want to do anything else. Like,
yeah.
Are they still getting residuals? Is iCarly still on like normal TV? I don't watch TV anymore. I don't know what's on it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I cannot at all speak on what kind of kids shows are on now because I have zero clue.
Yeah, I see some sometimes because, you know, I'll just turn on the channel and see what's up. All I know is that SpongeBob is still going.
SpongeBob is going to go forever.
As it should. That's a whole other discussion to have. Well, I mean, I guess we are on children's TV shows, but yeah, SpongeBob is a whole other thing. That's just memes galore.
Yeah.
But should we talk about Jeanette McCurdy?
I was gonna say, because I know you have a lot of feelings on that.
I do have a lot of feelings on it.
Yeah, I saw one of her recent YouTube videos that I was watching. I don't know if it was posted recently, but I've just been kind of like going through her channel.
Yeah.
She posted one about eating disorder recovery.
Yeah.
And what helped her and what didn't.
Yeah.
and she had a pretty hot take on, like, YouTube eating disorder recovery channels.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay, so
But-
I'll give, should I give background and then you can go
Yeah.
into that? Okay, so, like Teya was doing, I was looking up the cast of iCarly in preparation for this podcast and seeing, like, is there anything interesting that I could talk about? And the first thing that popped up was that Jeanette McCurdy, I don't know if we're pronouncing her name right.
I think so.
But she played Sam. She came out recently, she wrote a letter saying, like an open letter, talking about how for the entire time that she was on iCarly as Sam, she was suffering from eating disorders. And I think she went through a few. I remember her saying bulimia, I think anorexia as well. And this lasted into adulthood as well. So the reason that I wanted to bring it up was because I was rewatching some old episodes and I was trying, because Sam never registered to me as a particularly thin character, and I think the fact that eating was such a big part of her character, it never registered to me.
I feel like we didn't register if characters were thin on shows as kids because that was so just the norm.
Yeah.
They were all white and thin and whatever.
Yeah.
That was just the norm, and that was what we accepted as kids because that was just what we saw in the media.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And if a character was chubby or something, it was a joke.
Yeah.
Like Gibby, I guess.
Yeah, like Gibby. Though Gibby did become a bigger part of the show later, and I feel like his weight stopped becoming...
They treated Gibby in a very good way near the end.
Yeah.
He started out as just a fat kid joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. 100%.
So, but anyway, continue.
Yeah. So, I thought it was worth bringing up because, like Teya just said, it's not necessarily something we think about, it's sort of something we accept. Though nowadays, I think more, or less so, and also, I feel like we have more critical thinking skills, but not always. We don't always have the critical thinking skills we hope we have. Yeah,
Sometimes we're stupid. Feel free to call us out. We don't claim
please
to be
don't.
infallible.
Please don't.
If you have an interesting thought on something we say or you disagree, then feel free because we disagree all the time.
Oh yeah, we do. We fight a lot. Yeah. Lovingly, we lovingly fight.
You can disagree lovingly.
Yeah.
Is the moral of this.
Yeah, we're just here talking because we wanted to do it and we thought maybe someone would get a kick out of it, and if you don't, you don't. That's valid. But yeah, so I was looking at her and I was just trying to see I don't know, was there anything that I missed as a child or anything that would have trickled into my subconscious to make me feel weird about my weight or something. And in some she looked actually quite thin, her legs were very thin, I noticed in some. But then in others, not so much. And she always kind of did have that baby face while she was in the show, very just rounded. It's it's facial structure, it's normal. So it never really registered to me as anything worth noting. But it's weird. It's weird for a couple of reasons. It's weird because her eating was such a big gag on the show, and it was kind of oh, that's Sam. She's gonna raid our pantry and eat everything. I mean, it's unpleasant to see that anyone that played a character you liked as a kid was suffering while they were making something that you have such fond memories of. But I think the mic is too far from my face. Oh dear. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Talk about
what are my thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, neither of us have any personal experience with eating disorders.
No, we do not. That is important to know.
It just kind of fucks with your head because it's such a difficult thing for people to go through, and we have fond childhood memories of it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of I don't know, just complicating the nostalgic feelings we have about it. I guess I can kind of relate it back to the whole social media influencer kind of thing.
Please do.
YouTube is a platform that's known for individual creators, for authenticity. Yeah. And that's just flat out not true most of the time. Yeah. But Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message.
Oh my god. Triggered back. No, I
watch YouTube and you expect an authentic experience more so than television. Yeah. So I guess iCarly, in a way, they were portraying a form of social media influencer. So it's kind of just poking holes in that, what you thought is that perfect authentic image. Yeah.
Also, I didn't mean to make a trigger joke. Please cut that out. That was not kind. It just
I'm triggered by Marshall McLuhan too.
Just because so many classes where we had to go through that. But yeah, no,
listen, you're not even majoring in media. You don't know. My professor has a cardboard cutout of him.
That's his level.
The next level Marshall McLuhan stands.
However, I had a professor who was so old that at one point he was at like a conference with him and totally just like fanboyed because Marshall McLuhan was there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oof, okay, guys.
I had this project last semester where I had to go through like some U of T archives and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was reading all these like letters from him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Our boy McLuhan.
Yeah. He existed.
Yeah.
He was out here.
Just read these letters he wrote to Sheila Watson.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've read her books. The Double Hook. Have you ever read that?
I have not. I've only read the biography of her that I
it's
had
a lot
to read for that project.
Modernism is a whole
Modernism
thing.
is a whole lot.
Yeah, it is a whole lot.
Since we're talking about iCarly, modernism
is a whole lot. No, this is how every single podcast we do is going to be because like we change topics so fast. Okay, getting back to Jeanette McCurdy, you were saying that like she talked about like YouTube eating disorder recovery channels. Yeah,
basically, just how they, in a way, made it worse for her, and you never know if those people are really recovering or if it's for show or what's going on.
Interesting. So like she found them the opposite of helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, in general, don't go to YouTube for advice, people.
Or I think YouTube's great for advice sometimes. I think you have to keep in mind that it's obviously not perfect, but I think it provides so many different points of view.
Yeah, that's true.
That it can kind of balance out even if one person's not entirely correct.
Yeah. But then how do you know, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like, because you have a really strong critical thinking lobe, like is thick, is muscular.
My critical thinking lobe is muscular.
Yeah. You heard it here first. But like, yeah, no, like you're a very skeptical person in a good way. I feel like you won't take things.
So I need to be more aware of the dangers that face people without as buff of a critical thinking
lobe. Like whether that's because they're just inherently, naturally a more trusting person or because they're younger.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we were very cynical, very young. So I know for me at least, sometimes it's hard for me to take a step back and be like, oh, there's people who will take these things at face value. And that's not a judgment call or a call against anyone's intelligence. Like, you see a thing, especially like YouTube, I feel like, because it's such a visual medium. You see a thing, you see another human being talking to you about an experience. And for the most part, like, you want to believe them. Like, why would they be lying? So I think that, you know, it's important to remember that for a lot of people, it can be difficult, especially when you're hearing a lot of conflicting things. Like for you, you might be like, okay, yeah, these are a lot of different like lenses through which I can look at this experience and I can kind of glean what the facts are from what they have in common.
I think it's also just comforting a lot of the time.
Yeah.
In a way, you connect with another person who's going through something similar to you.
Yeah.
So I think that YouTube is an incredibly valuable tool.
Yes.
But it's obviously not perfect.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're going to do that and you're going to look for advice on YouTube and you're going to look for that comfort, completely valid. You totally should do that. But, you know, be mindful of your own mental health. Be mindful of whether it's actually making you feel better or worse.
Yeah. If it's making you feel worse, don't.
Yeah, and supplement that.
But if it's making you feel better, then it's probably a positive thing.
And supplement that with, like, you know, actual research into what's going on. And if you have a healthcare professional that you can talk to, try and do that.
This obviously doesn't just apply to, like, medical stuff.
Oh, yeah, anything. Anything.
The main thing that was going through my head when I said that was, like, coming out videos and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's different. That
was my experience. You know, watching, like, 500 coming out videos when I was a kid, and eventually I have my own videos talking about that now that I know a lot of kids will probably watch.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. When it comes to that, because that's so inherently subjective.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
To have, like, to know that there's a lot of different things. Even then, like, I was watching your coming out video the other day, which was the first time I've ever done it, because, you know.
Fake fan.
You came out to me in person.
I know.
I am your original stan. I am the original gay Teya stan. How dare you? But, yeah, no, I was watching that, and there's a lot of things there that even, like, I feel like are good. Like, if you're a person who you identify as straight, or you just don't care, what is sexuality? Why? Yeah.
Having
if you
a corporeal form.
Having a corporeal form, why? So, like, if you're like me and you're just like, why? I think it's still really valuable to watch those kinds of videos, because you get a really interesting view into like another human's brain, which for me, I know I get very trapped in my own brain and my own way of thinking about things, and we are so off topic right now.
We are so off topic, but it's fine. It's fine.
But I get trapped in my own way of thinking about things, and like I've talked to one of our other friends about this, like how do you know the things you know? You don't really. So I think it's actually really valuable to watch. Like if someone's going to post these intensely personal videos, I think sometimes it's worth a watch, especially if like there's someone that you already like their personality. Like if I like a YouTuber, which I don't watch a ton of YouTube, to be honest, it's exhausting in a lot of ways. But like watching your video, like I've talked to you for a long time, but it still gave me some insights about like what it is to be a person and to like mine the very deep dark corners of yourself in order to figure out some self-understanding. So I think it's valuable. I think all the kids should watch it, whether they are baby gays or not.
All the kids should watch my coming out video. That's the tea.
Yeah, it's good.
1 million views instantly.
I have that kind of power.
I have an interesting question for you all of a sudden.
Okay.
How do you think watching my YouTube videos compares to knowing me in person?
It's completely different.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a completely different person.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you have to realize I knew you when you were a wee tiny thing.
Yeah.
When, like, talking to you, having a conversation with you was a success. Like, it was a thing to be able to get you to talk to me.
Because I just had a lot of weird social issues as a kid. I never disliked you.
I know,
if anything,
I know that.
The times before we were super close, I probably looked up to you even. Like, 'cause, you know, everyone, you were cool. You were cool in your own way back then, you know?
Back then. Not anymore.
You still are now, but it's more like we're on the same level now, whereas I really didn't know who I was at that age, and I felt like you did.
Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, go back and answer your question, like, it's completely different, for sure. Like, well, because, you know, you put on a persona. Even right now, we're talking very differently than we would if it was just the two of us. Or, like, a little differently.
I mean, we're still just, like, chilling on my couch talking, but the only difference is we're talking into mics.
Yeah.
And aware that people will listen to this.
Yeah. Like, it is very different, obviously. And, I mean, yeah. And I guess in terms of, like, a lot of your brand is, you know, the lesbian brand, which is, you know...
which is a side of me that you don't particularly relate to or see often in person because...
Can't relate in not having a corporeal form. What is this? But yeah, no, it's completely different. It's like a whole different person. Like some of it, like watching your Girl Defined videos, that was just like our entire childhood.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like watching you talk shit about them was like, that was our whole life.
So I guess just... I talk about a lot of topics on my channel that we don't really talk about in person, so it's like a new point of view you haven't seen in a way.
Yeah. So, like, for a while, actually, I'm gonna get real here for a second.
Yeah.
For a while, I wasn't watching it because I was intensely worried when this YouTube thing started that you were going to change. And I just wanted to be as far away from it as possible and pretend that it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Because I was very happy for you being successful, but I couldn't envision, because it was so new at that point, this was very early on, I could not envision a way in which you would be able to keep this going and also stay the same person that you were. It just, because I'd never been, it was a completely new situation for all of us. Now, I see that you're managing it fine. Fame hasn't gone to your head.
Fame. Like minor fame.
Listen, my personal measure for it was if ever a person comes up to you in public while I'm with you, that's when I'll know.
Which has
happened. And that has happened. So, like, by my measure...
There's one subscriber out there who knows what you look like.
No, because people have met you with tons of other people.
That's true.
Yeah.
They don't know which one it is.
Exactly. And they wouldn't, because I don't have
a corporeal form. You weren't, like, beside me either. You were, like, lurking in the corner.
I was the thing lurking in the corner with multiple eyes and lots of teeth.
Right.
Yeah, we know this.
How could I forget?
Yeah, of course. We know I am the eldritch horror that follows you around.
That's why you wear the sheet. That's why I wear the sheet. For the sake of the mortal's eyes.
Oh, yeah, no. The sheet is for your protection and your protection only. I could just slop around in my normal form, but then none of you would survive, and then what would happen? And then I'd have no one. But it is important to remember that I do have real human teeth. just by the way. Just a lot of them. A few more sets than the normal person. But you know, that's valid.
All bodies are valid.
All bodies are valid. Body positivity. I just have to spend a lot on Crest White toothpaste.
Do you get those little white strips too?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Just like a million of them patched all over the place.
Like they're not good for you, but also, sometimes you want to feel good, and my
mom bought me some, and I don't know if I should take it personally.
dragged by the mother figure.
I mean,
in your life.
What's new?
Yeah. Hi, by the way. She's probably might listen.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Thanks for the AdSense, Mom.
Oh yeah, I watch you with ad block on. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
Wow. Rude. No, it's fine.
I hate ads so much. And also, I've had ad block for so long that I just forget that it takes ads away.
I will take your friendship in payment for watching my videos with ad block on.
Damn right you will. Oh god, as usual, we've gone so off topic.
But that's fine.
Yeah, and that's just, we'll see if people like it or if people want us to stay more on topic. Let us know.
This is what most podcasts are.
Let us know in the comments.
Friends
I've always wanted to say that. Let us know in the comments. Oh my god.
Say everything all of the YouTube-isms that you want.
Okay,
Just rip, go for it.
Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Don't forget to join my Patreon, and my album's out now.
Wow.
There we go.
How does it feel to be a YouTuber?
It feels so beautiful. I love it. How does
it feel to be iCarly?
We will never be as iconic as iCarly. We will never.
Never?
Also, their theme song did not have to go that hard, but their theme song
went very hard.
Like, what? Like, if you've ever listened to it too, the lyrics, I'm like, what? Okay, it's very hype and boppy, but I'm just like, who wrote this? It's like very, all right.
Some Nickelodeon executive.
Yeah, I
just,
guess
like,
so.
Pumped it out in one day.
Yeah.
Didn't know the power of what he'd created.
Seriously, he was probably like, honestly, considering the entertainment industry, he was probably on a lot of illegal substances, but I guess it worked in this situation.
Thoughts on the Dan Snyder foot fetish thing?
Excuse me?
Okay.
The what?
He's the guy who
was
responsible for a lot of the Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah, I know his name.
Yeah, so
what? It's the other half of that
It's
phrase.
pretty public knowledge that he had a huge foot fetish and put a lot of weird foot stuff in some of our childhood faves.
Oh my god.
You're realizing it.
Oh my god.
You're realizing it, aren't you?
There was a lot of foot stuff in iCarly.
There was.
Didn't they spray something on feet on some point? Like spray cheese or whipped cream or something?
Probably. I know there was the one where they drew little feet on their toes, or little feet on their toes, little faces on their toes.
Yeah, I remember that.
The little faces on their toes. There was one where, like, they're sitting beside each other on the couch, and, like, to get Sam's attention, Carly, like, puts her bare foot on her face.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that, but, like, I thought that was normal, because I have done that exact thing 100 times to you and others.
Not you. You never put your bare foot on my face.
I've put my socked foot by your face.
By my face.
Like,
but that's very different from just slamming a bare foot on someone's face.
I don't know, it just seemed normal to me, but I guess because all of us have kind of had a very physical friendship, so, like, it's confirmed that he had a foot fetish?
Yeah. It's pretty much public knowledge.
No, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. Oh no. Wait, but they were minors.
They were children, yes. That's why this is very weird.
No, I don't like
that. They probably didn't know.
Take it back.
There was just this old man like, yeah, put your foot on her face. That'll be funny.
Oh, take it back, Teya. Take me back.
No.
I want to delete the last minute of this conversation. You were just waiting to spring that on me, weren't you?
Honestly, I feel like a lot of people know.
No, I had no idea, but it makes so much sense now. Oh, I hate it. It's disgusting and I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
It ain't good.
Listen, of all the weird fetishes out there, like, I guess the foot fetish is very harmless. So, like, if you're into feet, like, I'm not saying ew
it's probably
to you.
The most common one, and it's pretty harmless.
Yeah,
so,
like, I'm not saying ew to
it.
you. I'm saying ew at the idea of this man who, like, had a lot of power in this, in Nickelodeon. Like, potentially, allegedly, potentially. We're not saying anything. Please don't sue us, Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
But, like, just the idea of, that being a thing that was applied to minors is bad.
being creepy with minors is the ew.
Yeah.
We don't kink shame in this house.
Just, if you are in charge of content that children are going to consume, just try to put your weird stuff in a box and leave it at home.
At everyone making that weird YouTube Kids content for a while.
Oh, yeah.
They cracked down on that pretty hard last time I heard.
Oh, did they? I only remember there being, like, weird stuff with, like, Elsa dolls. And
the Spider-Man and Elsa thing.
Yeah, vaguely heard about that.
Yeah.
And then, like, a million surprise toys with their really weird, creepy show, which isn't...
It's surprisingly hard to make good kids content, I think. You know?
Yes.
You've got these adults making it weird.
Yeah.
You've got people just, I don't know, not respecting the fact that they have an audience of kids.
Yeah. And, like, here's the thing. I feel like a lot of content I see now for kids, and especially younger kids, is, like, very careful not to go that way. So they've gone completely the other way, where it's sort of just, like, all about morals, and let's teach the kids how to count.
Yeah, I think even when you have an audience of kids, you have to respect the intelligence of your audience.
When I was a kid, every show I remember watching was, like, story-based, first of all. And, like, sure, there were morals.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, like, fable-type thing, where, like, you know, you would learn the moral over the course of the story, which I feel like people just don't do so much anymore. And also, like, I hate I hate CGI. I hate all these things. Like, I miss, like, hand-drawn stuff so much. You know what was a great show?
What?
Little Bear. Did you ever watch Little Bear?
Oh. Was there a book?
Yes.
Okay, I remember the book.
Yeah, there were books, and they were illustrated by Marie Sendak, who made the Where the Wild Things Are, which I did not know. I'd only found this out yesterday because, again, I was going into my childhood regression spiral.
Yes.
And
as you do.
Because Little
Just
Bear...
having a Monday afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And usually it's, like, around, like, midnight, 1 in the morning is when my mood drops, and I'm like, I need to watch some kids shows to remember what joy feels like. But Little Bear was incredible. It was, like, these short little stories. You know what I learned from that show that I never forgot? Why we use baking soda and baking powder. Because they didn't use it to make cupcakes, and they came out like rocks. So I learned from that show to always put baking soda and baking powder.
Why were the bears making cupcakes?
The bears were making cupcakes because they wanted to eat cupcakes. Little Bear was making it with his friends, duck, cat, and hen.
Of course.
Yeah, they had a full kitchen. Like, they were anthropomorphic.
Oh.
They weren't living in the woods.
I don't know if I'm remembering the correct thing.
No, like, they weren't living...
I feel like I'm not remembering the correct thing.
Yeah, there was also bears that were just bears. There were a lot of bears in my childhood that I remember. But no, they were anthropomorphic, 100%. And also, he kind of had this, like, friendship with this girl named Emily. She was a human girl. And, like, it wasn't romantic necessarily, but it was kind of like they just hung out, and it was just, like, a very normal, loving, platonic relationship between an anthropomorphic bear and a young girl, and it was beautiful.
Very inspiring.
It was beautiful. Anyways, my point being that it was a really good show, but it didn't, like, it never assumed that the audience was just dumb. Like, I knew really young kids who watched that show, and it was beautifully drawn, first of all, and it was just fun. Like, once he fed a peanut butter jelly sandwich to a whale, like, that was amazing. That's the content I want to see. Not this, like, bubble guppies. Like, oh my god, I hate that show. Anyways, like, just not...
I feel like as much as
shows.
I know you don't want to give away anything, I feel like it is kind of necessary to mention that you have small children in your life, and this is why you know so many things about childhood shows.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna get so many comments like, why are you watching Bubble Guppies?
Listen, I am aware of many things at many times. Like, okay, yes, fine.
An omniscient entity. That's
yeah.
That's the reason.
Yeah, fine, you've got me. I have kids. I'm a parent. Fine, whatever.
That's definitely it. Yeah.
That's definitely it.
You're like Spencer, just a chaos demon who adopted some children at some point.
Yeah, unfortunately, I found them in the trash, and now here we are, which, you know, happens.
As you do.
But yeah, like, kid shows are just not good. Like, and you know what I miss? Good, creepy kid shows.
Yes.
Like...
I'm currently reading Harry Potter, which is what has kind of made me think about this as well. Like, it genuinely is good, and it absolutely respects the audience, even though it was written for, like, 10-year-olds.
And, like, we're gonna have people in the comments being like, oh, Harry Potter is trash. Listen, J.K. Rowling is on some I don't even know what.
She's on some shit, but they were good books.
She's making some choices. But the actual content of the books, I see a lot of people online being like, oh, well, they were never that good anyways, or like they had problematic things in them. Completely valid, completely possible.
Just separate the art from the artist for a second.
Yes, for a second, because I don't believe that we should always do that. But I think it's important to look at the books and what they meant to people at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how I...
Oh, especially for a series that's so popular. I feel like
and like
they have taken on a life of their own beyond her.
Yeah, like they were good for what they were as children, and I think they still hold up today if you read them.
Because I have never actually read the whole series all the way through.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm finally sitting down and I'm like, I'm gonna have this childhood experience.
Yeah.
The one childhood or like popular kids book that I probably didn't read as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I never found the time to read it as a kid.
They were really big, and it was just, I feel like there was so much hype. That it was just kind of like, everyone was on, by the time you finished like the first one, everyone was talking about the fourth one. You're like, what's happening?
Because I saw the movies, I think, as a kid, and I was like, well, I already know the plot, I guess I don't need to read them.
Yeah.
But...
And they were fairly faithful adaptations, I think, plot-wise.
I'm almost done the first one, and like some of the dialogue is exactly the same.
Okay,
I know because my sister and I watch them every year at Christmas as like a tradition. So
Yeah.
It's all burned into my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so I think... What were we talking about that we got that? Oh yeah, kids, like respecting
kids as an audience.
Kids, yeah. Like a show that meant a lot to me as a kid was Tales from the Crypt Keeper, which we've talked about a little. Not the HBO show with like nudity and stuff, because I just realized that was a thing that the cartoon was actually based on. Not that. I'm talking about the cartoon, which went really hard. But, like, it was a really creepy show where it was hosted by, like, this zombie ghoul goblin thing. But, like, they always had really good morals, actually. And I was reading up on it on Wikipedia. And apparently they had, like, a child psychologist or psychiatrist come in when they were making the cartoon so that, like, kids wouldn't get traumatized. So, like, they were careful about it. So, like, there are ways to make cool, kooky, creepy content without traumatizing kids. Like, okay, yes, did I turn out the way I turned out? Yes. But, I mean, I was always a non-corporeal chaos demon. Like, you know, it's fine. Like...
And the non-corporeal chaos demons deserve to relate to something and feel comforted by things they see in the media, too.
Exactly. Like, it's just... Yeah, like, I was watching this episode of it the other day. Because it was one of the first things that I went to on my, like, childhood shows binge. And, like, it was this really cool thing about this kid who didn't have a lot of friends, so he went to the wax museum. As you do.
As you do.
And he was, like, friends with the curator and stuff, and there was, like, a horror section of the wax museum where he hung out all the time. And it turned out they were real, and, like, the owner died, and then this, like, really awful dude came who was gonna, like, bulldoze the whole place. You know, the typical plot of all the kids shows and / kids movies. And, like, him and the monsters teamed up to save the place and get it to the person who was supposed to have it, who was the caretaker. And it was just this really touching moment for me, because I was always the kid growing up who really identified with monsters and all of those things. And it was so great for me to have a show, and that's what Tales from the Crypt Keeper was for me, where, like, that was validated. And it wasn't seen as, like, indicative of you being, like, a weird, edgy child that we should be afraid of. It's like, yeah, you know, sometimes you do want to spend time with, like, these monsters because you see something in them that you think is valid and you think is worth loving, and that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. And, in fact, in the case of this episode, it makes you, like, a good person who's gonna, like, make sure that justice is had. So, like, it meant a lot to me, and it means... a lot to me still, and it bothers me that I don't think kids today.
These kids today.
On that note, how do you feel, if you have encountered these at all, about those, like, grim, dark interpretations of childhood TV shows where it's like
I've seen the Disney art where they, like, but anyway, what exactly
like
is it?
there's theories about, like, Rugrats. Did you remember Rugrats?
Yeah.
I love that show. I'm just remembering how much I love that show. There was a theory that, like, I forget which one of them, but, like, that they were all made up or something, or was all in, like, I think it was Angelica's head. Like, Angelica was a paranoid schizophrenic or something, and she, like, hallucinated all these people. Like, it was, like, it's dark. It's really dark. And, like, there's a lot of these things where it's, like, people will take kid shows that have weird stuff in them. Like we've talked about foot fetishes today.
I mean, we kind of did it too with Spencer being a chaos demon.
But I think that's different. I think it's different watching a show and being like, oh yeah, no, he's definitely like some chaos demon from another dimension, and being like, yeah, so this thing that was important to you as a childhood, it was actually the delusions of a traumatized child trying to cope with loss and pain and all of these terrible things that she didn't understand as a child. I think it's different. I get very angry when people do grim, dark interpretations of that.
But it's also, I don't know,
it's edgy for the sake of being edgy. Some of these are interesting.
Sometimes it can be, but at other times it can be that like dark thing that is in a way comforting to people.
Yeah.
Because, we've talked about how dark shows can be really important and really inspiring to kids who kind of feel like outcasts. And I feel like it can, in some cases, it's those people reclaiming something and making it into something that, reflects them in a way.
That's a view I didn't consider.
Yeah.
Because for me, the way it always read to me, it was people being like, well, I'm going to ruin this thing because I can.
It can be that in some cases, I think. But
yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying, and I think that's valid. What irritates me is, this is a more general pet peeve that I have. I think, well, it runs deeper than a pet peeve, to be honest. It incenses me deeply.
Do you have, like, any genuine small pet peeves? I feel like you get hyped about everything.
Everything, like, yeah, I get really heated about everything. What bothers me is this idea that, and it bothers me in part because I was this person for a very long time in my childhood. And it only recently, within the last few years, have I grown out of it. The idea that cynicism and grim darkness is inherently smarter.
Yes.
Inherently better.
The edgelord mindset.
Yeah, inherently more. I feel like it even goes beyond edgelord, because I know a lot of people who aren't edgelords, like creative people, like writers and stuff, who are like, the sad ending is always the best ending because it means you're brave enough to do whatever.
For me, that's exactly what it means to be an edgelord.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess edgelord in my brain is just kind of like a little less big, but yeah, I guess it is advanced edgelordery. Yeah. I hate it.
That's absolutely something I was like that as a teenager too.
Yeah,
I feel like we both really grew out of that when we hit our late teens. But
yeah. Well, the thing is, we had some rough times. Like, not to say that like we had bad childhoods. Obviously, there are people who had it way worse than us. But
we were just like socially awkward.
Yeah, and
we were just weird kids.
And things were hard. And I think it was a natural reaction to this like aggressive, everything is fine and happy and you should be fine and happy all the time. Like for me, that was what it was. It was like this idea that like everything was always happy and all the stories were happy and it was all good and everything. And part of me was like, actually, it's braver to be like, everything is terrible and everyone dies in the end and nothing is real. I don't know. I think that it's important for people who need to get those dark emotions out there. I think that's really important. But to say that that's the only way or that's like the most galaxy brain way to do it, I will fight you any day of the week.
We subtweeting Onici on here?
No! I don't even watch him.
Did you? Because I said like basically some of that stuff in my...
Oh, did you?
Did you watch the whole 50-minute video?
I didn't watch the whole thing.
I didn't think you did.
No, I
said a lot of that stuff in it.
Yeah.
I called him a big boy galaxy brain a few times.
Oh, yeah, okay. I vaguely remember that. No, I just watched it for the beginning where you quoted Hamlet.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
Thank you.
I almost cried.
But
also, Yorick didn't deserve that. Yorick didn't deserve to have substituted like that.
But I completely agree with what you said. I think, in a way, it is easier to be the cynical edgelord because you can just...
Because the world is terrible.
Yeah, you just kind of give up on things in a way.
Yeah.
I think it is a lot braver to be hopeful despite things being shitty, but if you're not ready to let go of the edgelord mindset, or if it's cathartic for you, I think it's absolutely valid for teenagers to go through that phase because we went through it hard.
We hit it hard. Yeah. But here's the thing about that mindset. At least for me, it's really addictive because I think, like you say, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
It hurt to realize that I had to grow past that. You know?
I don't know if I had an epiphany moment like that exactly. I think it was more of a gradual evolution. for me.
Yeah. I just got tired, and I'm like, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that anymore. We don't stand edgelord anymore. Whatever's past Galaxy Brain is what I am in now, I guess. If edgelord was Galaxy Brain, then I'm whatever comes after that now.
Universe Brain.
Universe Brain, Cosmic Brain, Eldritch Brain.
Eldritch Brain.
Eldritch Brain. You've heard it here first. Oh no, my computer is running low. Oh shit, what do I do?
Plug it in.
Okay, you talk while I do this.
Oh yes, give me your mic. I'm going to talk to both mics at once, and this is going to be horrifying.
Oh, where's my charger?
You can unplug my... Do you unplug my printer or my frog nightlight? It's a very important debate. I guess unplug the frog. I don't want to turn the printer back on. Okay, here you go.
This was a hot mess.
When do we ever say anything?
We never say
value.
anything. Okay, I'm trying to think if we have any more good, like, anything about iCarly that we forgot to mention. You know what? It was very white. Like, I'm thinking back on it now, and it was so white. Like, you were just saying an hour ago about how, like, you know, the content we consumed was very, like, thin and white, and that was just kind of how it was, and very heterosexual.
Yeah. Do you think that representation in media is actually getting better?
I mean, I don't think so. To be honest, like, if it is, very slowly.
I think...
You know what? Okay.
Very slowly.
Yeah.
I agree. It's better than it was in, like, 2007.
Yeah.
But we are not there.
No.
And people who celebrate these little triumphs as if they're the greatest thing in the world... It's like the Beauty and the Beast moment where, like,
I was just thinking about that.
You see them slow dancing for like half a second at the end of the movie, and everyone's like, "There's a gay couple in this movie." Like, no, there isn't. Like, yes, they get congrats. Give them the woke points. They showed a gay. Wow. I think we're still very far off from seeing a queer protagonist in a mainstream movie that has nothing to do with them being gay.
I think, like, my question to that for you then, as you know, a gay person, would be. So the fact that little moment, which as you rightly point out, I think didn't really
But at the
mean
same
much.
time, I think it solidifies, like, Disney has taken a stance that they support this, and I think that's kind of important. I know it pissed off a lot of people, like Girl Defined.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
The fact that it made anti-gay people angry, do you think it has value? Because
I think
it's like
I think
taking
it has
a stance
value.
there.
I don't think it has no value. I
Yeah.
think it's a step.
Yeah.
But if we celebrate it as if it's the epitome of great queer representation, which I have seen people do, no, we have to recognize that we have a lot farther to go.
Yeah. I think too, like...
And this goes for other kinds of representation as well. I just feel the most comfortable talking about gay representation because that is the one that affects me.
And, like, there are people who are much smarter than us and who have much better experiences in the world than us who could talk in depth about that. But for me and my personal experience, I think we're not yet in a place where, like, specifically female characters. A female character, I cannot name one female character who has not had some kind of, like, love thing going on. And, like, I'm tired of it. Give me a single woman, please.
Yeah,
Just
honestly,
give her to me. I want her. Where is she?
I'm not even like, give me a lesbian character. They must have a female love interest. I'm like, can I just see a single female character?
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
I just want to see a woman being a woman or a girl being a girl. Like, it's just... I'm tired of it. And I think, like, it just, it bothers me. I want a show about a single woman being happily single and, like, the drama with friends and stuff and all of these things. Like, especially when
Platonic drama is absolutely underrated.
It is!
Like, the stuff I've gone through with friends over the years is absolutely just as intense as romantic drama.
Oh, for sure.
So, I think we've probably got enough to make a good podcast pilot episode thing.
Yep. Okay. Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Like and subscribe.
My album's
Ring the
out
bell.
now. Ring the bell. Listen to our album. Watch our music video.
Yeah.
Buy my book on Amazon.
Follow us on Instagram, and Twitter, and Tumblr, and Snapchat, and
vote for us for the Streamy Awards.
Yeah, that. Buy our cookbook out now.
Merch!
Merch! Buy the merch.
It's just a bed sheet. Cut the eye holes yourself.
Oh yeah.
Emo
100%.
cosplay.
Yeah, man. Do it. Even no eye holes. Just stick sunglasses over the sheet. Nothing behind them. That's how you roll.
That's thrifty.
Yeah. And also,
yeah.
like, you don't
Then
want...
you can reuse the bed sheet.
Exactly. And you don't want to show your, like, 10 million eyes.
Yeah.
Like, mortals cannot gaze upon them.
Of course.
Exactly.
How could I have been so stupid?
Exactly.
This has been Screaming into the Void.
Or Screaming into the Abyss.
Oh, Screaming into the Abyss.
I feel like I talked way more than you did. I am
but
so
I feel
sorry.
Like you always talk way more than me.
I know, but I am so sorry to all of you who are like, I want a podcast with Tia's beautiful, sonorous voice so I can, like, listen to her because I'm totally in love with her. By the way, Tia doesn't go on Twitter so much. I've been in the Twitter tag. I know y'all are thirsty. Tia doesn't know, but I know.
Oh, no.
So just know that I know and that I'm onto you and that I'm judging you. That's my friend, guys. Be cool. Be chill, please. Okay.
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
Anyway.
You're probably going to hear more of my weird voice. So, yeah, get used to it.
I'm really impressed that you speak in such a human way with so many teeth.
Yeah,
You've worked really hard for this podcast.
I really have. I'm just here trying not to, all over the place.
Fabulous.
Are we going to have a sign-off?
This has been Screaming into the Abyss. Not the Void, the Abyss.
Yeah.
Very specific.
That's the title. That whole thing is the title. Screaming into the Abyss, not the Void, the Abyss. Very specific. That's the title now. What do I click to stop this?
How do you...
Do I click the stop?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
I click the stop.
Wait, no, that's the...
Oh, fuck. What do I do? It's still going.
Here.